All right, good morning, Oyo State. Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to another loaded edition of The Agenda. And I am Chike Obogo. Today, we have a very important conversation because security remains the foundation of every progress we desire. We'll be looking at the security architecture in Oyo State with particular focus on the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, the NSCDC. What exactly is the mandate of the NSCDC? How have they performed in 2025? And what should residents expect in 2026? Well, joining me in the studio this morning is the image maker of the Oyo State Command of the NSCDC, the Superintendent of Corps, Samuel Okpebi. S.C. Okpebi, good morning and welcome to The Agenda.
Good morning, sir, and it's a pleasure being here.
Yeah, it's a very great one. It's been a long while, And then we're just looking at the NSCDC. Many people have mistaken the NSCDC, especially when it comes to its functions. And lately, we heard Mr. President withdrawing, saying the police should withdraw the services of the Nigerian Police Force. And then the NSCDC should be the ones, moving around with these VIPs in quote. However, let's start with the basics, especially for those who may still be confused about the roles and various of the various security agencies. So in simple terms, what is the primary mandate of the NSCDC? And how does it differ from the police, the army, and the others?
Yes, what in a simple term, what I would just say is that NSCDC, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, is one of the evolving security architecture of the country. In 1967, during the Civil War, that was when it first emerged. And then it was known as Lagos Civil Defense Committee. And it was just basically on civil defense activities. As we all know, civil defense across the world, which is an international civil defense organization. We have the headquarters in Geneva. So Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps began as Lagos Civil Defense Committee just to educate the populace then on how they can save themselves from bomb attacks and all forms of attacks that were associated with the Civil War, because Nigeria at that time had not experienced any form of war. So Nigerians are not well aware of what actually they were to do. So that was when it came up as Lagos Civil Defense Committee. So after the Civil War, there was need for civil defense to be well structured in Nigeria based on their achievements during the Civil War. So that was when it became Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, bringing in the aspect of security attached to civil defense. Now, over the years, it began to evolve, and it evolved into what we know as Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, as established by the legislative instruments of 2003, which made it a legitimate organization of the federal government of Nigeria. Now, by 2007, the act was amended to ensure that NSCDC could strengthen the efforts of NSCDC, especially the power to bear arms, the power to prosecute, and the power to investigate and detain whoever has been arrested. So this became strengthened. But what I observe is that NSCDC, civil defense, has become an evolving security organization virtually through the various security challenges we are having in the country. But as of 2014, when the Chibok girls issue happened, now the Safe School Initiative was instituted by the federal government, and then NSCDC was made to be the lead agency in terms of the Safe School Initiative, which is now the Safe School Program. So NSCDC was given the mandate to be the lead agency coordinating other security agencies. Now, in 2016, when the Boko Haram attack evolved into attacking farmlands, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, then it was under our former Minister of Agriculture, Audu Ogbe, when it had a memorandum of understanding with NSCDC to establish the Agro Ranger. That was in 2016, and then we established the Agro Rangers. Now, in 2025, now as we have it, no, in 2024, we have the issue of illegal mining happening across the country. Then the Federal Ministry of Solid Minerals had a memorandum of understanding with NSCDC to establish the mining marshal. You can see now in 2025, by the directive of the president himself, now NSCDC has become the agency in charge of VIP protection, close protection services. So you can see that NSCDC is an evolving organization based on the security challenge we have at a particular time.
Well, you just gave me some clarity, and not only me, even our audience. We have some clarity, and thank you for that. But now let's zoom into Oyo State. It has been quite eventful for the NSCDC in Oyo State, where you've had farmer herders clashes, you've had, that's in some areas, you've had pipeline vandalism attempts, you had electricity, property vandalism attempts too. Even some have even vandalized electricity properties. Then you've had school safety concerns, and then even it's a whole lot of insecurity, especially cable theft and all that. Now, how has the NSCDC in Oyo State, that's your command, responded to these challenges throughout this year as the image maker?
Yes, in the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Code, the act that established us, Act number 2 of 2003, as amended in 2007, now gave us some particular functions, which include the protection of critical national assets and infrastructure. So that's one of the basic mandates. Now, the disaster management, which relates to civil defense. Then the peace and conflict resolution is part of our mandate as enacted in the Act. Now, Section 3, subsection 3 of the Act gave us the power to bear arms and to bear arms, which strengthened our activities.
You have the armed squad.
Yes, we have the armed squad now. So now, as regards Oyo State, we have we've achieved a lot when it comes to some of these mandates throughout the year. Now, we've looked at Oyo State and we observed that the peculiar security challenges is actually peculiar to the various regions of Oyo. The kind of crime associated with Ibadan region is therefore the kind of crime associated with the Okeogun region. Ibarapa, Ogbomoso, Oyo, and they have their peculiar security challenge. Now, if you look at Ibadan here, it's urban-related crimes. We have urban-related crimes. We have issue of land grabbing and the likes. Those are the peculiar security challenges here. And we have a unit called the Peace and Conflict Resolution Unit. And I can tell you that most of the issues we've been resolving has to do with land-related matters. And I can categorically tell you that we've achieved a lot in this regard to make sure that those who approach us, because the Act actually says that those who approach us willingly, parties who come to us willingly. So we've achieved a lot in this regard to make sure that we negotiate among the willing parties to resolve some of these issues, and most of these our people we've resolved issues concerning them. Now, when we look at other urban-related crimes as well, we are working with other security agencies to make sure that we cause some of these crime-related issues. Now, if you look at the Operation Bust, you'll find our men there.
Yeah.
You look at any joint security and task force established by the state government, you'll find our men there. Any events, program of the state government or from the federal government or any festive activity, our men are always there. I must inform you, sir, that every Sunday and every Friday, we post our men to various churches. Not only a particular church, various churches.
Selected?
Yeah, not selected, because we want to reach out to virtually all the churches. So we just say, okay, this is where we are going this Sunday, and this, based on the security information we
You
have.
have rotational.
Yes. Based on security information we have, then we strategically post our men. This doesn't happen in Badan alone. It happens across the state on Fridays and on Sundays. We have our men in all our divisions. They have a routine of a roster on how this posting is being done to some various
strategic deployment.
So this alone is part of our effort to make sure that religious associated attacks are mitigated. So now, when you look at the Okeogun axis, it is a borderline with Kwara State, a borderline with Kwara State and with even the neighboring state of a country of Benin Republic. So we know that in such kind of area, we're going to have boundary-related crimes, which include issue of kidnapping, the smuggling activities, and NSCDC has the mandate to protect pipelines and prevent illegal smuggling of petroleum products. So we have our men posted in this axis to make sure that some of our Commonwealth are not being siphoned out of the country. Then we have the issue of illegal mining. Oyo State is richly endowed with mineral resources, and we know that this is on another ground for which criminals, terrorists, bandits also want to come in. So we know that we have the mining marshal. We have the mining marshal which oversees the southwest region. So we are working to make sure that we arrest some of these issues. Also in the state, Oyo State, we have a mining unit which sees to everything activities related to mining. So, and then we have the issue of farmer other crisis in the Okeogun region. We have that issue there because of it is easy for you for those others from other parts of the country or from neighboring countries to come into Oyo State. And then, Oyo State is an agrarian state. Our mainstay is agriculture. And we observe that some of these things, some of the clashes we've been having has been related to farmer other crisis. So what we did is that in all our farm settlements, I can categorically tell you that we have the Agro Ranger well situated. They are not with us in our office at the headquarters here. They are situated in the forest with the farmers, and they've been working as seriously to mitigate the issues around. So if you look at the same thing in Barakwa axis too, which is the southern part of Oyo State, boundary-related problems, but it's not as serious as that of the Okeogun region. And also, they also experience the issue of farmer other clashes. So we've been working to make sure that some of these challenges are mitigated or wiped out.
You've been talking about strategic deployment. Then the question is, do you have enough men?
Yes, I cannot categorically tell you that we have enough. Yes, and of recent you have been informed that the civil defense, correctional, fire, immigration, and board is trying to make sure that we have more personnel. So there's an employment exercise going on now, which we expect that in few days ahead of now, we have the results, and then more officers will be employed. So we are expecting more to join us. So we can't say that we have enough. But with the number we have, we are strategically deploying them to make sure that we provide security for people across the state.
Okay, so let's, it's so impressive with all these things you just reeled out. But let's give our audience some concrete figures. SC Okpebi, can you share some of the major achievements of the Oyo Command in 2025? Number of arrests, convictions, value of recovered items, life saved during disasters, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
You have
if you look at the Agro Ranger, as at August, we've been able to resolve issues around farmer other clashes, and this also include cattle poisoning, grazing of farmlands, people's farmland, issue of land and dispute between farmers and the herders. So we'll be able to resolve, as at that time, over 600, as at August, we've been able to resolve over 600 cases. And one thing you must understand, that each of these cases has the potential to result into big, serious conflagration. So that's the peculiarity with some of these issues, that we needed to attack them as early as possible. They may look insignificant, but when we leave them and they exacerbate, they can result into serious conflict issues. Now, if you look at the issue of peace and conflict resolution, we had the Peace Day sometime in September, and when the data was given as what has been resolved for the year 2025, as at September, we've had over 1,500 cases being resolved in the state. And this includes issue of land disputes, issue of marital disputes, issue of breach of agreements, on things that could actually cause problem among people. Because what we want to do is that we want to reduce the number of cases that we move to our courts. So we are using alternative dispute resolution so that people can still go back and still relate. So we amicably resolve some of these issues, landlord-tenant disputes, some of these funny issues that if we leave them, they have the potential to erupt into serious violence. So we've resolved issues like that. Now, when it comes to the issue of pipeline vandalism, you must understand that of recent, there have not been transportation of fuel through the pipelines. So issue of pipeline vandalism has not been
reduced drastically because of...
Yes, but there's still issue of smuggling of petroleum products across the border. At least this year, I've witnessed about 3 or 4 major, there are still some minor, major where we arrest jerry cans in large numbers being, and we've been able to address some of these things. So when it comes to the issue of disaster management, we are coordinating with the National Emergency Management Agency to arrest the issue of disaster. So virtually all the disaster issues that we've experienced in Oyo State, NSCDC has been involved.
Okay, there's a part, you talked about farmer herders clashes. Yes. Now, in the true sense, do farmers actually clash with herders, or herders invading farmlands? You talked about poisoning, cattle poisoning.
Yes.
If a cattle is coming on my farm that I spent so much to cultivate the crops on it, and I poison my leaves so that I preserve what I planted, is that a crime too?
Yes, you must understand that while it is a crime for cattle to invade one's farm, it's also a crime for one to poison the leaves or the plants. What they do is that the plants that actually leads to that farm are being poisoned, so that when cattle graze on them, they feed on them and then they die. It's also a crime. It's also a crime because
is that not self-defense?
You can't say it's self-defense. Even self-defense in the real sense, it must be in respect to the law.
Okay, so let me paint a scenario to you now. You have somebody who obtained a loan of maybe 30 million, cultivates maybe 10 hectares of land or acres of land, as it were. And then the next thing, cattle come with their herders, graze on that farm, sweep it clean. How does the person pay back that loan? It happens the first time. And the second time, the person says, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to replant, but I'm going to poison my leaves so that whatever comes close to it will not attack so that I don't run at a loss. Would you arrest such farmer for doing that, protecting himself against herders that have no boundaries but coming to his farm?
Yes, the issue of it costs a lot to invest into farming, and at the end of the day, somebody invading the farm and feeding on the entire crop it's something, it's something that is so painful. But we must realize that no matter how painful something may be, we must still operate within the bounds of the law. The law still remains the law. So if somebody, if I should come up now and say, no, because of the pain you feel, I now want to respond, say, no, what you have done is right. So let's.
Well, the law will not help the person pay back his loan.
But that's why for the person to be able to make sure that he wins the case effectively. Self-defense must also be in accordance with law. If the cattle graze on that farm, and the owner of the cattle charges him or her to the court and says that his cattle strays into the farm, and then he has a good lawyer to defend his case in the law, the person will have to pay for the cattle that have been lost. So whatever we want to do, we must make sure it remains
within the ambit of the
law. That's, in business, there's what we call risk assessment. Before you situate your farm in a particular place, you must first of all carry out risk assessment.
But the normals don't have, even when you carry out your risk,
yes.
Because I'm going to give you a practical example. Yes. In the course of our reports at Dominion here, we went to a village called Ogumake. And in that village, we found out that it's in Idianyure local government area. That's the Idianyure, Uliole local government area, I beg your pardon. And there, we found out that in front of us, we saw cattle grazing into farms. In front of us, we have evidences. We have the rushes there. You know, they were moving into farms, eating up crops, 10 acres, 5 acres. And then these farmers are handicapped, they cannot do anything. But they are living in abject poverty. So how will the Civil Defense Corps swing into action in such a community? If possible, I can lead you to the community. We'll swing into action into that community to salvage the situation there. Many of their farmers are dying. Many of them have been attacked by these herders. How do we salvage this issue?
The issue is that some of our people are not well informed because they're not supposed to keep quiet. Because some of the reasons why some of these things fester is because our people are too quiet. And they may be there because of fear. When it comes to issues like this, it's about life. Not only their own life as farmers, life of the people that will also feed on these crops. Because these farmers are where I look at them, they are majorly commercial. They are into commercial farming. So it's going to affect the economy of the state. So issues like that should not just be silenced out of fear. That's why we are part of the reason why we are here now, to make sure we educate our people. We have the Civil Defense Agro Ranger unit. So if we can situate the Agro Ranger in such kind of community, if we are informed, we have the Agro Ranger unit. All we need to do, the state commandant, we charge them and give them the order, go to this community and see what actually they are going through. We have the mandate. We know how to arrest the situation because others don't have the right to invade people's farm and feed on their crops. And the people now keep quiet and thinking that nothing can be done. There are things that we can do, that we have measures that we can impose to make sure that some of these others who are feeding on their farms, they pay. Yes, we've made others pay for what they are.
I'll link you to the Ogumakin people. I'll link you to them.
All right.
And then we'll see how we can find a lasting solution to that community there. Well, dear listener and dear viewer, we're live on Facebook where you can drop your comments and then you can drop your messages via the app X too. The handle is @DominionCast via the app X @DominionCast. Well, let me go through some messages right now. It says, good morning. My area in Bodija has been experiencing cable theft almost every week. What exactly is NSCDC doing about it? Akonwo Toluwalashe from Bodija there. So you want to respond to?
Yes, we have our what we need to do is that as a community, we have our offices around you there. All you need to do is to report, give us information, because I used to tell our people that we as security agencies, we don't have eyes everywhere. You've just talked about our numbers now. So we have virtually many other security challenges that we are also facing, that we are also attacking. So, but we need the support of our people to give us information. We have our offices across the state, divisions across the state, area commands across the state, that the people can actually approach. We will help them resolve some of these issues. Give them security advice on how to actually protect these things from being vandalized.
All right, there's another message here from Shakiru Olaifa. That's Shakiru Olaifa from Ogbomoso. It says, we appreciate the agro rangers in our area. Kidnapping on farms has reduced, but some farmers still pay illegal levies to herders. What more can be done? Yes, part of what we're just discussing.
Yes.
So what more can be done?
I don't understand what he means by
Now,
illegal levies.
Herders coming to collect levies from farmers.
That may sound strange to me.
It's strange too, but that's
herders are collecting levies.
Yeah.
Well, we need him to give us more information.
Okay.
So that we can actually.
Shaki Rolaifa, I'll get to chat you up, and then we'll see how we can get more details from there. That's from Ogbomoso there. I'll chat you up and get more details from there, because I want to wonder how herders collect levies from farmers.
That may be another security challenge. You must remember when the Boko Haram in the north, east, evolved, changed their security strategy. They went to the farms and were collecting levies from farmers.
Maybe this is
maybe this is something related to that. So we need more information in that regard so that we can work on that information. All right.
Still from messages here, Ahmed Balogun from Agoiwoye. Good morning to you. It says, SC Okpebi, how does NSCDC handle pipeline vandalism in Oyo? And any 2026 plans? Well, we're going there, yeah.
Yes, like I said, we have Oyo State is one of the states with the pipeline networks of Nigeria. So we have we have the anti-vandal
squad. Okay.
Yeah, squad, yeah, exactly. The anti-vandal squad. We have them across the state, the major regions where we have the pipe lines across Oyo State. We have the anti-vandal unit posted there. So we, for the 2026 projection, we are not going to relent on our efforts. We're still going to make sure that issue of pipeline, not only pipeline vandalism, issue of illegal smuggling of petroleum products, because this is part of the problem we are facing in our country. We have petroleum products because we diverted or smuggled through jerry cans across the border. So we have our men stationed across these strategic locations to make sure that we nip these activities in the bud.
Okay, so we'll go on this break, and when we come back, more talking points on the agenda. Stick around, don't go away.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that break. It's still the agenda, and I've been on with the Superintendent of Corps, Samuel Okpebi, who is the Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Oyo Command. One of the silent achievements people don't talk about is disaster management. Oyo experienced serious flooding in Ibadan, Oyo Town, and even Shaki axis this year. Esi Okpebi, can you walk us through the activities of the NSCDC, the role of NSCDC during these periods?
Thank you very much. Sir, you must understand that it is Nigeria security and civil defense. The civil defense aspect across the world actually has to do with disaster management. So now if you go to other countries having civil defense, they are majorly focusing on the issues of civil defense. Now, and part of it is disaster management. We have been coordinating with the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to make sure that we arrest the issue of flooding. Oyo State is one of the low-lying regions of the country, and which has been experiencing flooding for quite a while. But what we have been doing, have been proactive. That's what we call disaster risk reduction. Disaster risk reduction. We are much more interested in risk reduction than intervention. Intervention actually has to do after that the disaster has already happened. But we are making sure that issues of disaster is mitigated so that the cost of mitigating it or of reducing it is lower than when it has happened and then want to intervene. So now what we do is majorly is that we go out for sensitization. Sensitization to inform our people on what to do during this period of during the period of rainy season that we have been informed by NIMET that Oyo State is part of the states that will actually experience. So we actually went on issue of community sensitization across our various divisions and in the states to make sure that our people are informed on what actually they are to do to prevent flooding in their various communities. Part of such sensitizations including advising those living in low-lying areas to move from such kind of areas to higher lands so that they don't experience. You can imagine people are so stubborn that even with the continuous flooding that they experience, they will still want to live in such kind of environment. Yeah. And also, we've been informing our people on how they can build trenches, waterways that will help them collect some of this water so that it doesn't cause unnecessary flooding. And then the dumping of items, materials into waterways. We've been also informing them on some of these things. Now, that's on the side of flooding. We also have issues around fire disaster. We are in the dry season now. So we've been educating our people on what they can do to prevent fire disaster. And we've been coordinating with the Federal Fire Service and the State Fire Service to make sure that our people are well informed. The major reason why we have casualties in some of these disasters is because our people are not educated. Our people are not informed as to why they should prevent such. And then we have the issues of people living in dilapidated houses, structures built out from weak materials. That's also a potential for disaster. So, but we will observe that Oyo State is not that prone to such kind of structure because of the various laws and seriousness attached by the state government to issue of building. So we've been working in this regard to make sure that we arrest various disasters we have experienced throughout the year. You will observe that issue of Bodija blast that happened last year. Yeah, January. We were there to make sure that that was what we call a response because it has happened already. So we were there to intervene and provide necessary assistance with other security agencies to make sure that we arrest the situation. So that's how we've been doing. But for the year 2026, we are still looking at other forms of disaster that we know that Oyo State can actually experience. So we want to coordinate with other agencies in this regard to make sure that we fight them.
We'll look into collaboration, but let us now look ahead as we prepare for 2026. What are the projections of the NSCDC, especially when it comes to your new strategies? Are you getting more personnel? Are you getting more vehicles? Are you getting new units to make sure that security gets to every nook and cranny of the society?
Yes, the state commandants began an operational tour across the state sometime in July. So we just had one last week. So he has been going from one region of the state to another. The state commandant was in Kishi. He was at Olo. From Olo, he moved to Igbeti. From Igbeti, he moved to Kishi. So all this axis, it was there. We left that region. We came to Ogbomosho. It was at Ogbomosho and all the adjoining communities. It was at Ibarapa axis, where we went to Erua, Lanlate, Igbora. So it was there. So we went to Shaki, Agoare, down to some of these communities there. It has been to all the regions of the state. So last week it was at Oyo. So what we are actually doing is that we want to, number one, have community engagement. Because in security, community engagement is very, very important. We must engage with the people. We must receive from the people, have understanding of the security challenges they are going through. And then the role, because to fight the issue of insecurity, the people have their role to play. So to inform them as regards what role they are to play. So now, having gone around the state, we've come up with some information. We've observed that Oyo State has issues of farmer herders and clashes, which means we have to make more deployment into the Agorangers. So we've observed some communities, we've discovered some communities that are experiencing issue of farmer herder clashes that we've not had before. So because of the tour now, so that in 2026, we're going to make a kind of strategic deployment into the area of the Agorangers so that we can have more deployment into all the farming communities where we've not stretched our tentacles. Now, the issue of mining, Oyo State is rich, endowed with mineral resources. So we want to look at this a situation where we deploy more men into this aspect, because part of the reasons why the NSCDC was involved into the issue of mining was to make sure that we increase the to boost the income of the federal government. So we want to make sure that our role as part of the MOU signed with the Federal Ministry of Soil Minerals, our role to prevent illegal mining and to make sure that those who are operators in the mining sectors pay their necessary dues and to the federal government. So we are going to work in that area as well to make sure that we have more deployment into that aspect of the work. Now we observe that the Okeogun region, which has a boundary with other states and other regions, other countries. Yeah. We want to make sure that the issue of kidnapping and banditry activity does not infiltrate into Oyo State. So we are going to deploy more men into that axis to make sure that we prevent the issue of banditry and kidnapping activities that we are hearing of in other states. So it's going to be a serious year for us. Okay.
Are you recruiting?
Yes, the recruitment has actually ended. So we are going to have by next week now, although we are expecting by next week that there will be a kind of verification exercise for those who have been shortlisted.
And there's no room for more?
Not for now.
Okay. So we still have some messages here because of our time. Olawumi Adesanya from Iseyin is saying, we hear about private guard companies. Many of them are not well trained. When will NSCDC sanction those ones?
Yes, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, by the Act of 2003, amended in 2007, has the mandate to license, regulate, train, and supervise the activities of the private guard companies. Now, we are actually carrying out the training and training exercise for all the private guard companies almost every year. But you know that when we train this year, some of them, by the time the year is over, they would have left that private guard company. There will be new recruits. Yeah, so that which they will have to wait till the next training exercise that we will have for them next year. So we are promising that very soon another training exercise will come up for all the private guard companies, so that they can be well informed as to what they are to do. And we also want to inform you that, please, if you have information on any private guard company operating illegally, because no private company can, no private security company can operate without the license from the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense.
Well, Babatunde Osho from Okeogun, you're asking about mining sites. Illegal miners are destroying our lands. I think you've addressed that issue. Yes. So we'll move on to Olawale Aremu from Oyo Alaafin. He said, morning, achievements are good, but what about youth involvement in security?
Yes, that's what we are part of what we are going to look at in the year 2026. Oyo State is rich in the youth demography. The demography of the youth on your state is very, very rich. So we want to look at, that's part of what we discovered when we went for the tour across the state. We've observed that most of the people that we are seeing around are elders, are youths. Where are they? So we want to get them involved in the security of our state, because they are much more viable. They have the know-how. They have the technology. They have the technology that can help us to mitigate some of these security concerns. So for the year 2026, we're going to look at how we can actually involve our young people. We have the CDCRC, Civil Defense Community Relation Committee. And that is one of the methods by which we're going to bring in our young people into,
like the way we have the PCRC.
Exactly.
So you
yes,
have the
CDRC.
CDCRC
across the divisions in the states.
Okay, so if one wants to be a member of the CDCRC, what will it entail? It's
as easy as just getting yourself to the nearest division in the divisions, and identify yourself and be a member of that local area. So because you can't be in Division A and then you want to go to Division B to be a member, you must be a member of that the community around that division, so that you can provide why you are a member is to provide information as regards the security concern in that area. Okay. That's the essence. So there's no serious qualification process. Yeah. No. Okay. Because it's one of our methods of having community relation, community engagement. So we must make it accessible to everyone.
All right, final question before we go. Superintendent of the Corps, Okpebi, S.C. Okpebi, if you are to send one message to Nigerians or to the residents of Oyo State this morning on how they can partner with the NSCDC to make 2026 safer, what would that message be?
The message would be that the issue of security, I always say, is in tripod. The federal government, state government, local government, that's one stand of the tripod. The second stand are the various security agencies we have in the country. Then the third stand is the community members, citizens, residents of various communities. So this tripod is what security stands on. So as a member of this tripod, what your role is what you should carry out, which is get us informed. Get us informed as to what is happening in your community. And then where you think you can take some of these challenges we are having, issue of logistics, issues of not having enough good accommodation, some of these things, communities have been actually coming up to help us. We've seen a community that actually needed the Agro Ranger, but the Agro Ranger must be resident in that community. They can't be coming from their houses to that, so they must be resident. The community built an Agro Ranger quarter where they lodge. So this is part of the efforts of with which communities have been involved in, which have been assisting NSCDC. So I believe that our people also should get involved. That is the message I have for them.
All right, Superintendent of Corps Samuel Okpebi, he is a Public Relations Officer, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, or your State Command. Thank you so much for coming on the program this morning.
It's a pleasure.
All right, we are better informed today and definitely more hopeful that security will be something that we all will come together and fix. Dear audience, that brings us to the end of today's edition of The Agenda. Remember, a secure Oyo State is possible when all of us come together to play our part. I am Chike Obogu. Keep staying safe. Keep staying tuned. And from all of us here, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.
Thank you.